the darkness brings out something evil in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racers. When the lights go on, things sometimes get a little strange. These guys live for the spotlight. They'll do anything to fight their way to victory lane. So turn on the lights and hang on tight. The trucks are racing at night, and it could be quite a sight. NASCAR's nighttime fun comes from Richmond, Virginia. Richmond International Raceway has the Fas Mart truck shootout for 200 laps. We hope, because we have some weather in the area, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Despain, along with Benny Parsons. Pretty hard to get a bunch of truck drivers to agree on anything. Tonight, they all agree on one thing, and that is we're racing against somebody named Fran, the hurricane that's out there someplace, and she's coming this way. And really and truly, it couldn't come at a worse time for the truck competitors. 5 days ago, they were in Nashville, Tennessee. Sunday, 3 days after this, they'll be in Loudon, New Hampshire. 3 races in 8 days. It can be a struggle, and they don't need this race rained out. Bad need to get this one in. 101 laps will make it official. And talk about the need to get the races in, but think about the impact on the point standings. We've got 72 points separating the top 3 guys. In this run, you don't want to make a mistake. And Mike Skinner in practice today lost an engine in his car here, had to take the engine out of his Loudon car, so he's already behind the 8 ball. And it's 64 points behind. I tell you, it's going to be a battle for this championship, and look at the season we've had. 6 winners already, a record 12 pole sitters. The point leaders, 4 men have held the lead thus far, and they've swapped it 7 times. Sprague, Resendiz, and Corelli have all had first-time victories. But here's the big surprise. Not a first-time winner, a first-time pole sitter in his 2nd truck race. Marty Reed has him.
Well, Kenny Irwin Jr. was very last to qualify. Number 40 in the list. Only 36 made the show, and you stood it on its ear just under 120 miles an hour, and you took the pole.
You know, I can't even hardly believe it myself, but, you know, the Rebessis guys, they did a great job. The Ford motor run good, and, you know, I just drove it around there. I don't want to say it was easy. They just gave me a good truck to run.
Now, this is a one-race deal, and obviously Ford helped set this up. They've got to be real happy right now.
Yeah, Lee Morris, SVO, set it up with Jim Herrick, and we did a test session with them a couple months ago, and so they decided that we'd run one race, and they picked this one here. So hopefully we got off to a good start, and if we can just run up front all night and bring it home, that'd be good for me.
Well, guys, he's halfway home. At least he's ahead of the pack at the start. Will he be there at the finish? We're about to find out.
That is a remarkable accomplishment. He starts alongside Mike Skinner on the front row. We'll have the rest of the starting lineup and all of the action when we come back to Richmond for some nighttime truck fun. At Richmond International Raceway, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series competitors are on the speedway, warming the tires and preparing for a quick green flag, Benny, because we've got a little rain in the area. Sprinkle has started. Kenny Irwin Jr., the big story, taking the pole alongside Mike Skinner. And Sprague and Mark Martin in his buried truck races. In 4th, Bliss, Hensley, Butke, and Kevin Grubb, newcomer, 18 years old. Wallace Hornaday, Gant Miller, Wayne Grubb, his 20-year-old brother, Reiser, and Russell. Listen to that man try to beat that green flag. The Grubb brothers are a big story. Resendiz was last week's winner at Nashville. Refner in the middle of the battle for the Rookie of the Year championship. Darrell Waltrip, of course, from the Winston Cup ranks. Corelli, a winner here on ESPN. As we check the last of the starting positions, that is the Indiana Andy Hillenberg. We had an entry from both of them. Thought we might get them both on the same racetrack. Will not happen. Walker Evans killed the truck here in practice. He is A-OK. Here's how the onboards look tonight. You'll ride with Mike Bliss, also along with Rich Bickle in the Dodge, and Brian Refner will have the third of our onboard cameras. Stay away, Fran, because here comes the green flag. We're racing at Richmond. And Kenny Irwin gets a terrible, terrible start. He's lost 3 spots already down in turn 1. Kenny Irwin Jr. comes out of the USAC open wheel ranks,
set this place on its ear in qualifying, but as you can see, did not get much of a start. Great jump back in the field. The number 55 truck is Kevin Grubb of the two Grubb brothers. Kevin is 18 years old, and his daddy bought two trucks for his two sons, and they had a pretty remarkable qualifying run themselves here, Benny.
They sure did. You ever see Wayne, Virginia's beloved, being passed by Mike Bliss, and then Ron Hornaday right behind in the Napa truck.
5th, 6th, and 7th, the positions in question there. The Grubb brothers came out of the mini cup ranks, and they're big local favorites. They run Southside Speedway, South Boston Speedway, and run the late model ranks. And so the folks around here are all thrilled to see the local boys get to take a shot at the big guns for the truck series.
Mark Martin, that's Mark in the 99 Excite truck, running in 4th spot right now. I'm sorry, 3rd spot, make that. Colson or Kenny Irwin, and he will look just exactly like Butch Miller, except number 62. The trucks are identical.
And here is side-by-side action as Bickle moves down on the bottom, and he's challenged on the outside by Michael Dawkins. 16th and 17th. Our onboard camera is with Bickle, but there's the demonstration of the fact that while you want to have the bottom, you can't run two lanes in Richmond. Jump on board and take a look back at Dawkins, 16th and 17th spot. Bickle is 16th, Dawkins in 17th. Neat racetrack.
It sure is. Long list of race cars behind these, race trucks behind these trucks.
This thing used to be a dirt track in the old days. Strawberry Hill Raceway was its nickname, named after the plantation that once occupied this piece of Virginia real estate.
That 4 truck in front of Bickle is Kevin Grubb. There he is in number 4. That's a much older brother of Wayne. He's 20 years old.
Yeah, he's out of high school now.
Wayne had to get out of high school today to drive the truck.
And if he wins, I think they ought to give him tomorrow off, too. I tell you, that would be a truly remarkable accomplishment. We noted that Irwin didn't get very much of a start. It was also remarkable that Skinner got such a great start here because he has the truck that had the engine swap, and we'll elaborate on that. But right now, we watch Vicente's in 18th spot. Last week's Nashville winner in the middle of a traffic jam there.
And that's Bobby Gill in 15. The truck has been driven this year by Mark Gibson. Bobby Gill in it the last couple of weeks. And it looks like Rick Corelli and Randy Renfro in the 41 truck, trying to go by on the outside of Brian Refner.
That's a pretty gutsy move, and he's making it work pretty well. And with all due credit to Gibson, it's nice to see Gill get back in a truck. Here he was leading the Rookie of the Year standings, but he lost his ride. Look out. Close competition is what Richmond is all about. We've seen it before. We mentioned this place used to be a dirt track. Now it is a sprawling 3/4-mile short track that looks more and more like a super speedway as they keep adding seats. 88,000 will be here for the Winston Cup race on Saturday night. Let's move back up front now. Skinner with the fresh engine. Looks like they put a good one in there, Ben.
Yes, they do. And but Jack Sprague, the 24 Quaker State truck, closes up right on the tailgate. And Mark Martin in the 99 is lurking back there in 3rd spot. He'll be heard from before this night's over.
2nd and 3rd ranked drivers in the championship standings, 8 points apart in the rankings, and a truck like separates them on the racetrack. Skinner is 2nd, Sprague is 3rd. Hornaday was your 10th starter here this evening. He is the point leader and has been for much of the campaign. And he's biding his time here this evening, although he is presented with, well, wait a minute, he's not either. He has fallen backward here rather rapidly and is now back at about 19 spots. So we'll have to keep tabs on Hornaday's progress or lack thereof.
There we see him. There's Hornaday right behind the Grubb truck. They've got the scoring is messed up.
Yeah, I think so, too. He's in fact about 10th. But look at him come diving down to the inside. Got a little loose as he came to the bottom on Grubb. And now looks like he may be able to get the nose out front. And he's going to bring Butke right with him.
He's 8th place trying to take over 7th spot. And does it. Whoop, I spoke too soon, did I? No, I guess I didn't. He will take that 7th spot away, and Bucky's not going to allow Grubb to get back to the inside.
Bucky says, I'll follow that guy. I recognize that 16 truck. He's pretty good at this truck racing stuff. That yellow line's the key to the deal here, Benny. You got to hang right down there on the bottom, though.
Need to have that left front tire on that yellow line. Trucks, cars, doesn't matter. They all handle so much better right on the bottom.
I see it's pretty easy. You just drive it right down there, turn left, and stay there and follow around, right?
It's no problem at 30 miles an hour. There's Harry Ginn. Harry Ginn, who ran so well at National last week, was leading the race when he and Skinner made contact, and Harry went for a spin.
And Skinner at the time was a couple of laps down, and that drew a lot of big boos for the Black 3. We'll have more on that story and a whole lot more on the racing at Richmond when we come back to Richmond International Raceway. Rocking and rolling here on a Thursday night as part of a big 3-race weekend. We have a battle for second. One of the guys who's going to be busy this weekend, Mark Martin, getting busy right now as he goes to work on Jack Sprague. Martin in the 99 dives to the bottom
and takes that spot away. Mark Martin will try to run all 3 events. As we look at the top 15, there we see Hornaday in 7th spot.
Now, Hornaday was never in trouble. Let's clarify that. And if you've just joined us, he qualified 10th. He's up to 7th. Scoring monitor glitch there. Had him back in 19th, but it never happened. He's been in good shape from the get-go. Picked up 3 spots. Let's talk a little bit about strategy, Benny. We have just a little bit of a sprinkle of rain at about a minute until 8 o'clock as we watch Gant go battling here with the older of the brothers, the Grubb brothers. That is Kevin in the 55 on the outside, and here comes Ruttman up the inside. We had just a sprinkle of rain. The hurricane is coming. The forecast is grim. Possibility that this could get washed out. The key is how fast you go,
101 laps is an official race in any kind of motorsport, so these fellas need to keep these trucks all going straight ahead. Don't have any trouble for the first 101 laps. Try to get this thing over as rapidly as possible. As we see Ruttman going by the Grubb vehicle, there's Kenny Wallace in the 22 Red Dog truck. And there we see Butch Miller in the other investor truck.
And while we're looking at the 98, let's kind of finish up on that story. You note that Kenny Irwin Jr. is also climbing for a Vestas Ford here and put it on the pole. He is heir apparent to that ride because Butch Miller told me this afternoon after practice, he says, I think I'm out of there. He said, I do not think I will be driving this truck next year, and I anticipate that Irwin must be, what is that term, heir apparent. So Butch, while it has not been made official, says he doesn't expect to be back, and that would open the door for Kenny Irwin Jr. to try to follow in the footsteps of Jeff Gordon, his old rival, on the USAC open wheel trail.
And we see Mark Martin has just about caught our leader, Mike Skinner. That's Skinner in the black number 3, Mark Martin in the pink black number 99. And look at Mark, how he hangs that left tire on that yellow line.
Man. He knows his way around this joint. He won 3 times here, twice in the Busch Series and once in Winston Cup. And you got to think back to Skinner's quote here when I asked him, first of all, if they thought they could get that engine changed, and he looked around and grinned at the crew and said, you know, these guys are pretty good. If you follow this series closely, you may know that there is a limit on engine changes. They have a rule that says you can't change from qualifying to a race engine. So what's the situation here? Why was he allowed to do that?
Well, they took the NASCAR official and watched the truck go around the racetrack. When he got back on the gas, he was puffing some smoke, and the NASCAR official agreed that they had something wrong with the engine and therefore signed off on it and let them go ahead and change it.
He got a waiver to go ahead and make that change. Hornaday in the 16 has moved up another spot. He is now 6th. Having put Jimmy Hensley's Dodge behind him. So it looks like Hornaday is hooked up. Further to the issue of halfway perhaps being a race, we're in a little window on the radar right now. We're going to spin on the Grubb straightaway. Walker Evans is just about going to run through his own tire tracks here as he spun a truck down through here earlier today in practice when the steering failed and clobbered the retaining wall, and his 2 sets of spin tracks don't quite overlap any, but it's close.
It is very close, and I'm telling you, he hit that primary truck this morning awfully hard, and there we see still no caution plate. We are racing, and there we see Mark Martin trying his best to get by that John Nemechek, the slower truck. And we see Bob Keselowski has been lapped by the the Skinner truck.
Here they come, threading through, and there you see on the lens of the camera, a sprinkle of rain has returned. I was about to say we're in a window that the NASCAR officials hope will enable us to run at least half of this event, get these trucks on the road. But as we say that, the sprinkles have returned, and my point is going to be, you can't afford to be hanging back for 100 laps, Benny. You've got to get to the front, try to win this thing by halfway.
As hard as you can go, and we can see that Mark Martin is trying to do that. We also saw the lens of the camera. There was quite a bit of raindrops on that lens. But those cameras we're using there, it doesn't see anything.
There's another side to that whole issue, and that is the frequency with which these drivers talk about tire management at Richmond. This is a pretty abrasive racetrack, and you go out and attack it. Can't you get yourself in trouble there?
Yes, I mean, these tires do drop off quickly, and you must manage those tires or you will be backing up. We see Mark Martin right now. He's realized it's going to be a struggle, and I think that's exactly what you're talking about. He realized it's going to be a struggle to pass Skinner. So he said, what the heck, I think I'll just hang around and save these tires. Jimmy Hensley is backing up. The Mopar Dodge was fifth just a moment ago. He's backed up to about 10th spot already.
Wallace 22 has gone around him, and that's Miller, number 98, who has also passed him up. So the Dodge is not sticking the way Jimmy would like here. And I'll tell you, Jimmy's a heck of a short tracker. If the thing's handling, he'll take it forward instead of backward, and the opposite is happening here now. So they're not going to be happy about his situation. There will be a break at halfway, as that is the typical NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series format. They run halfway plus 1 lap, take a quick break to service the trucks, bring them back out for the second half.
And you wonder why do they do that? Why don't they have pit stops? Because it's very expensive to bring 10 or 12 people to a racetrack and keep them a couple of days to hit a vehicle. And we see that one truck is backed up into the pit. That's Hillenberg. And the caution flag is out.
He's crinkled the left front as Andy Hillenberg has gotten into the wall, bringing out the first caution of the night. It has been a very clean Fas Mart shootout thus far, but Hillenberg is in the fence, and that will slow things here. We'll take a quick break and come back with more. We're live at Richmond International Raceway, and we'll look at the crowd who came to see the trucks race. This moment gone back to green. The trucks come off turn 2 at Richmond International Raceway. Mike Skinner has led from the get-go. What is obviously a perfectly competent engine after an engine change post-qualifying. He took the outside pole. In fact, he described that motor about half blown up, which would indicate to me that the other half must have been really.
And looks like that Hornaday is trying his best to get to the front, get as many positions as he can. He has moved up to 4th spot. There we see. And he can see the leaders.
He's moved in front of Bliss as he picks up a position, and Kenny Irwin, meanwhile, has moved backward. Colson has slipped back. Check that. No, he's still sitting in the fifth. I apologize for that error. Mark Martin right on the rear deck of the leader, Skinner, who has led it from the outset. There's Bliss. Bliss would love to get up there and do battle. Well, now, that's what I thought. Kenny's behind him. Bliss, having moved ahead of Kenny Irwin Jr., they're old rivals in the USAC open wheel ranks, and more, that looks like a proving ground or a breeding ground, if you will, for upcoming talent. What we don't like about this picture is that moisture on the windshield.
No, we don't. And I tell you what, this moisture is going to make that outside groove very difficult when we run across slower cars. It is going to make it difficult to pass. And Mark Martin trying to get by.
They are trying really, really hard to keep this thing green and get to the halfway point. Right now, the prospects don't look real good, but the drivers, of course, understand the challenge here. They know they need to get this race in and then get on to Loudon. Let's check with Marty down on our pit side, the first of our retirees tonight.
Yeah, we're with Andy Hillenberg. Andy, what put you out other than a big crunch on the left front?
I couldn't really hear you.
What put you into the wall?
We had something let go up in the front of the, I think it's up in the front of the steering or something in the front end, and maybe the brakes or something, because it felt like I only had rear brakes. I'm not sure. I'd like to say we were just biding our time, but I was really having to work hard to run last, I think. But we'll be back. We're figuring this truck deal out, and hopefully we'll be back running up front someday.
We'll see you then.
And Mark took a look, could not quite get by.
That's a great quote. I love it when race drivers tell you the truth. All right. Whoa, here's trouble for
Johnny Chapman.
number 19, Johnny Chapman, who has obviously turned it around, but is back underway without a yellow. I think we can take another look at this one. I wondered how soon they'd start looping them in the wet
I see the Grubb boy. That's Kevin Grubb in the Ford truck, spins around and gets the thing going again. And Chapman, trying to avoid him, goes around as well. Did you see that Grubb kid? How did he do that?
There was an awful lot of potential for disaster there. A lot of guys came away from what should have been a big wreck. So we've seen perhaps the first evidence that the racetrack is starting to get slippery. What we have, I think it'd be fair to say, Benny, is heavy drizzle here. It's not flat raining yet. It's enough to wet the windshield, enough to wet the camera lenses, and a little bit of moisture on the racetrack, of course. But as the heat of the tires and the heat of the engines, right now I'd say maybe it's just staying even.
I think they're probably keeping it dry. We can see where rain is coming off the windshield. Just a little bit, we see the water sliding off the windshield.
That's Hornaday, number 16, who sits in 4th spot. He's pursued here by Mike Bliss in 5th.
This is on board with Brown Repner. Let's watch as he follows Bobby Gill down in the corner. And there goes Grubb around. And he looks back at Chapman spin around. And Grubb gets his car going straight again. Amazing.
I wonder if Grubb got touched there. It's hard to tell, but he may have had a little help turning that baby around. Best race on the racetrack right now is Hornaday in 4th, trying to hold off Bliss and Ruttman. And add Butch Miller to that mix. That quartet comes dancing down the backstretch.
That might be Revolts or Kitty Irwin. That might be Kitty Irwin back there.
Yeah, you're right. I'll bet you are right. The yellow is out. And I see no problem on the racetrack other than the falling rain. I suspect we have reached the point where NASCAR says, well, boys, we are flirting with disaster here. We better get the yellow out. Chris Morgan throws it, and the field will come under caution. You can see it's raining pretty good out there.
We can see that now.
The big question all day has been not if, but when it would rain. And I guess the secondary question to that, when the rain arrived, would it stay, or would we get a little of that on and off shower activity prior to the complete washout of the activities? I recognize that guy. That is Richard Childress, who is, of course, the owner of the leading truck on the racetrack, although it is the second-ranked truck in the championship, and that's a very big part of the story as Skinner tries to defend his 1996 title. We're halfway to what we need. Come on back and see if we get the rest of it. We're in Richmond with live NASCAR Craftsman truck racing action. Meanwhile, out in Los Angeles, they are warming up their toes with a Colorado over.
You're never going to... We'll take a look at the field summary day, but you never believe we're going to see the green flag the next time by.
All right. Helicopter overhead helping to bring us the pictures from the trucks, and the helicopter pilot reports that this shower is a little bitty one. Behind it, there is a great big one, and the key for us is going to be the hole between. We hope that hole will be big enough to enable us to run this race.
They're not going green. For some reason, they have held off, and we'll see as we see the rest of the field summary. We see Hillenberg, who we talked to just a moment ago, gets credit for 36th spot.
Racing hard as he could to hang on to last place. You don't hear a lot of race drivers that'll tell you that. Let's check out the guy who owns this leading truck. You saw him before the break. Let's hear from Richard Childress.
Richard, what's Mike saying about track conditions out there?
Well, right then, when he was getting ready to give the green, he said it was just a little bit damp, so I think it'll get all right here in just a minute.
Guys, we can tell you that it has slowed down as far as the drizzle is concerned. Obviously, everybody wants to get this in. What's the strategy here? Because we overheard you guys saying save tires, but yet you don't want him to give up the lead.
Yeah, you don't want to be leading it halfway in case the rain sets in, but the truck's working pretty good right now, and Mark's running real good behind him, so we'll just see how the track goes.
Guys, it looks like we may be going here soon.
Well, we certainly hope so. 101 would make it official, and that is when we would take the halftime break. The big rain is on its way, and we're hoping it will hold off. On pit road is the number 42 truck of Robbie Reiser, making a pit stop under this yellow for an adjustment on the truck, so he's going to fall in at the tail end of the field. The lights are still flashing. The track is still damp, and there's Reiser. So we wait to see how long they may have to hold off before they can send these guys back out. Chapman has also made a pit stop under this yellow.
And Brian Refner also made a pit stop. The truck with which you're riding, the 1-800 Collect truck, made a pit stop, made a chassis adjustment. They cannot stop and change tires. And as we say that, you see Chapman, they're jacking the truck up. They're not going to change tires. That's illegal. They're going under to make some type of adjustment.
These trucks run under several rules that are significantly different from the Winston Cup division. One I like best is not racing back to the yellow in case of accident, but for the moment the only yellow we've seen has been because of rain, and it is the yellow under which we circulate at this moment. We look ahead, as we say, we're in the middle of a very busy segment of the schedule. Loudon runs on Sunday, and then the trucks are back on ESPN for 3 in a row. September 21st, Saturday before the Martinsville-Winston Cup race, and then Saturday before North Wilkesboro, and then it's out to Sonoma for our second visit of the year in October. We'll wrap up the series and then bring you on ESPN the banquet, actually on ESPN2 on November the 16th when we pay off the money. Way too early to be picking a favorite for the championship, Benny, with the kind of struggle we've got between these top 3 guys.
Well, I'm telling you, just 72 points separating the top 3. And right now, the second and third truck drivers are in front of the lead of the points, right? We're looking at the lead of the points. Ron Hornaday, the Napa truck. Skinner is in second, and Jack Sprague is in third spot. Right now, Skinner's leading, Sprague is third, and Hornaday is fourth.
Let's get back down to Marty Reed with more on Chapman's difficulties here.
Well, he is the last truck on the lead lap, and he is complaining of an oversteer coming out of every corner. So they've decided they can't lose any positions, so they keep bringing him in and making adjustments, hoping to give him a little better position once they go back green. Now, listening to the guys on the radios, they're telling guys in the pits here, hey, the track's fine. The problem is we've got so much crud on our windscreens between the water and the oil, we can't see.
Well, at the kind of speeds they run at Richmond, I think it would be advantageous to at least have some idea where the turn-in point for the corner will be.
I think that's probably about like running on the dirt track back years ago. Huh? Now, here we go.
One thing you can do at this joint is knock the wall down. Here's the good news.
Go. Rain.
Spotters telling their drivers it's good to go, and Kenny Irwin tries it up on the outside next to the wall. And here comes Martin on the outside of Skinner. Got that position, but it's the long way around.
And here's the tricky part. Now, he's going to beat him in there, but is Skinner going to let it stick? In a similar circumstance last week, he got it decided. Harry Gant got a 3-lap penalty. And Martin goes safely by into the lead, and his timing couldn't be better. He's pretty good at that restart stuff.
Yes, he is. We see Doug George, the 21, trying to get laps back. Can't do it. The Ortho truck. And right now, Sprague is working on Skinner pretty good.
Real trick to keep those trucks on the bottom as the moisture from the air slickens the racetrack. But you heard the report. The track is less a problem than the visibility. Martin quickly attempts to check out. He puts 3 truck lengths on the leader, former leader, and Sprague moves into attack. And here goes Bliss to the bottom on Hornaday. Look out. This is getting close.
That's their points leader that's being tried. They're trying to pass him.
Good stuff. And riding with Mike Bliss, I asked his crew chief, Barry Dodson, early today how the truck is working. He said, well, it's Richmond. We're good at one end, bad at the other, and the straightaway's decent.
When he come off the corner, Hornaday is keeping riding down to the inside enough that he's not able to use the engine, while Hornaday up on the top side really getting good momentum off the corner.
Was that 2 laps now they've been side by side like that?
And Joe Rudman back to the white number 80, Jack Craftsman's truck, and saying, come on now, somebody pass, somebody.
You guys get this figured out. Oh, and Bliss spun. Mike Bliss comes spinning down through the tri-oval in the midst of that battle. With Hornaday heads back up the racetrack, and everybody gets by.
Now that could have been major.
That made me real nervous.
Yeah. He's still got it running. He's trying his best. There we go.
I was wondering for a moment how much control he was exercising over the truck. He hadn't hit anything. No reason to think that he wasn't in control of it, but he sure wasn't getting stopped and came rolling up the hill. Let's take another look.
All right, here we come off turn 4. They come off the corner, and he just gets on the gas, and the back end simply goes around.
They didn't touch there, did they?
No,
I think they had touched, but they didn't touch there.
And there he stops now. He started to go there because he felt like he was going slow enough that he could go on, but he's going too fast, and the truck spun around again.
And then the momentum carried him up into harm's way. Real-time look from Bliss's truck. Quieter when you wreck on the grass. The bad news is you get going faster when you hit that grass. We're going to take a break and come back with more. Mike Bliss survives that loop but will lose position. Mark Martin is your new leader. 36 NASCAR Craftsman truck drivers and your favorite network all racing Hurricane Fran, and so far we're winning. We got about 35 to go to make this thing official. Martin, meanwhile, is winning the race. He leads from Skinner, Sprague, Hornaday, and Rutman, who's coming on like Jack the Bear.
Started in 50th spot, did Joe Rubbin up to 5th spot. And green.
Go, 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 go. Green. You got that right. Get the green one out there, guys. 69 in the book. And Morgan puts the green flag in the air. Fast trucks up on the outside, a couple of lap trucks for him to deal with. And Hornet, they just about got into the back of one of them. I think that's Michael Bakken.
That's Doug George.
Doug 21. Yeah, about that. By the way, has worked his way into contention once again for the Toss Rookie of the Year thing. He fallen way back in the points. Had terrible luck early in the year, but now he's right up there racing Refner for that position. And those guys are real pumped up about this 3 race in 8 days swing. They're hoping to do well. Got himself a lot of time.
Skinner trying to keep as close as he can to Mark Martin, because right now in these conditions, it'd be real easy to slip. Real easy to slip.
And slipping at Richmond is pretty easy to do anyway. Marty, what's the latest on Mike Bliss's situation down there?
Well, Mike told crew chief Barry Dotson the truck was very loose on the spin, so they put one full turn of wedge in both sides and sent him back out. He's got a long way to go to catch up.
I tell you, I was sure hoping we'd get a chance to see him and Kenny Irwin Jr. do battle here. The last time those two raced, they came across the finish line at Indianapolis Raceway Park on Thunder in a Silver Crown race, side by side, bumped, and went sliding down through the escape road. It was spectacular.
Did you say side by side? There's Harry Gann and Kenny Wallace side by side. Harry Gann in the Westview Capitol. Last week leading the race at Nashville, Tennessee, when Mike Skinner trying to get a lap back. Got the truck loose and trying to save him. Got in the side of Harry again and spun him out. Almost like slapping Santa Claus. Man. Oh, and Mike Skinner goes back in front.
Side right back under Martin, and now look at Sprague jumping on Mark Martin here. Moving closer to the halfway mark. Skinner feeling the heat, so they got to have the points. Hornaday's coming in the mirror, and he jumps back in front of Mark Martin. Nice move, Skinner. And Sprague trying to duplicate that. Harry is one of the more popular boys out there.
I mean, Harry Gann, one of the most popular drivers ever in racing, and man, and Harry. And Skinner says, I shouldn't have done that. Didn't he tell us that today?
He was trying real hard to dodge him, but the truck got loose on him. Oh, the booze from the grandstand. NASCAR reacted with a 3-lap penalty. Look at this Army.
Harry Gann trying to get under John Nemechek. There's Butch Miller right behind the Rebecca truck. He's been able to get by Kenny Wallace. Both of them have, and Wallace won by Doug George. There's Resendiz in the 7th.
If you want to help sort that out a little bit or put it in perspective, Resendiz with the QVC logo on the hood is 10th. So take out the lap trucks, and that is the battle for 10th position. And they're 3 wide. Look out, guys.
And that's Darrell Walters in the 5 truck, the diehard truck. And at 41, Randy Renfro on the outside, 3 deep. Randy, you'll be back picking sweet potatoes if you aren't careful there, son.
Rain has started again. VW making his second truck appearance of the year in the number 5. Of course, the 17 truck is now driven by Bill Sedgwick, who is currently 18th in the running order. So Darrell's beating his regular driver here at the moment.
Toby Butler in the 52 truck, the AC Delco. And there goes Jimmy Hensley and Rick Corelli. And we got a spin down in 1 and 2. Mike Bliss has backed around the fence.
Guess it needed 2 rounds of wedge, huh?
Yeah, caution flag is out. Caution is out.
Spunner in the rain. It's getting wet. Again, they do not race back to the yellow in the truck division.
And Bliss gets his truck going, will not lose a lap, but he will go in for some work for the ASE.
Sprinkled that time, didn't you? You can see the damage there on the left rear. It was funny last week in Nashville. They told them in the drivers' meeting, now guys, we got 3 races in 8 days. There's $800,000 worth of prize money out there for you guys to win. Be calm. Just take it easy. Use your heads. They had, was it 13 cautions? I believe 1 short of the record for cautions, 2 short of the record for caution laps. Race drivers are not calm by nature. This is the replay of the spin.
And Bliss goes in the corner just a little bit too high, and it may be wet up there. And around he goes and backs around the fence.
There would be logic in that. The groove on the bottom, where most of the traffic's been running, would be a little drier. Bliss is up here in the wet stuff. And around he goes.
That's the sound you don't want to hear.
That's the sound of money for your owner.
Yep.
Let's get more from Marty on the track conditions here.
Well, good reason why Mike Bliss might have gone around. Take a look at my foot right here. As we go down, you can see the water starting to build, and look how slippery it is just with your foot. You can see the shine coming up. It's getting very slick out there on the racetrack as well as the mist continues to fall, guys.
All right, let's go green racing then. It's just right.
Give me some good news, Marty. I guess the good news, if any, is that we're 1 to go. That good news is they listen to Parsons. When he says go green, they go green.
I actually where's the location? When Marty was talking, I saw the Craftsman official standing there with their finger up in there telling all the competitors we're going to go green next time.
Cheating. Benny pays attention. That's one of the keys to this deal. That's part of the reason he was Winston Cup champion. We have had a shower virtually from the get-go. We've kind of raced in it and around it and under it, and now we're just about ready to get back to it as the man who has led most of the laps here brings them back down at the head of the field. That is Skinner. Let's see what Martin can do on the restart on lap 82.
They're not going green.
Not going to happen.
Chris Morgan is taking out the yellow and waving it.
We'll seize that opportunity to slide in another commercial here as we come to you live from Richmond International Raceway, hoping to get in 18 more laps and call it a truck race. At Richmond, Fran, take a hike. Get out of here with that nasty weather. We got a lot to do here this weekend. Tomorrow we're supposed to qualify the Winston Cup cars, and it will be live on ESPN2 at 5:30 Eastern Time. And then, of course, RPM tonight coming from here at the 7 o'clock Eastern. NASCAR Busch Series scheduled to crank up the Autolite Platinum 250 at 7:30 tomorrow evening. And don't forget Speed Week at a different time this week, Saturday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. NASCAR Today will provide you the pre-race activities here at 7 o'clock on Saturday night, followed by the Miller 400 live at 7:30 Eastern time on ESPN. Nothing, Benny, nothing would make me happier than to see us stick to that broadcast schedule.
You're right. There's a field summary. Mike Skinner, Mark Martin is in second spot, his very first truck race. Jack Sprague, Ron Hornaday, Joe Rudman started 15th. He's in 5th. Kenny Irwin, pole sitter, hanging on. He's in 6th spot. This is his second truck race. Nathan Bucky, Butch Miller, Harry Gant, and Kenny Wallace. That's the top 10. Dave Resendez, Darrell Waltrip. He's worked his way up to the 12th spot. Toby Butler, Jimmy Hensley, and Rick Corelli.
So the Grubb brothers have gone south a little bit. There you see the 55 truck. That is Kevin, the 18-year-old of the Grubb brothers, is the top of the 2, the local favorites here. Sedgwick in 18th spot. And the other of the Grub boys is in 22nd position as we take you on back through the field. Bliss, after spinning a couple of times, and those who have either dropped far behind or dropped out, including Craig and Keselowski and Indiana and the Hillenberg. This is not the scene we had hoped to see at this juncture. The field is moving on to pit road, and they are going to bring out, instead of race trucks, the jet dryer and make a last-ditch effort to try to hold off the storm. It's worth noting that the winds kicked up pretty much as predicted around 6 o'clock, 6:15 here, as the fringe of the storm moves into the Richmond area. And we're going to seize that moment to get in another break and come back and hope that we could get in the laps we need to make it official. It's the Fas Mart Truck Shootout 200 at Richmond. We're back in Richmond, and it's way too quiet. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on pit road and under a red flag. The scheduled 200-lapper here at the 85-lap mark when the red came out, and they replaced the trucks on the track with the jet dryer. The Grubb brothers tried to do their part to help things out here. Wayne Grubb's truck caught on fire over there on pit road, but that heat isn't going to do us any good on pit road, Wayne. I'm not sure what that was about. But when they shut it off, the thing flamed in the carburetor. Didn't appear to have done any damage, but they did have to shoot the fire extinguisher in there, so they're tending to that right now. Meanwhile, Marty is caught up with Mark Martin.
Yeah, Mark doing a little bit of debrief down here with his team. And Mark, if I could sneak in here, it got pretty slick out there, obviously. Was it a good call?
Well, yes, it was. When we were running under the green, it was coming down pretty good. Wasn't any problem. But once we had a yellow, it seemed to get wet, and it just wouldn't dry back up. It was pretty slick. We can't race in this kind of stuff right here. It's really wet now, so the X-side truck is going good. I'm having a little bit of fun, a little bit of racing here and mixing it up. We maybe need to make a couple adjustments to really be awesome here, but we're hanging on.
What about the differences now? I mean, the difference between the way the truck handles as compared to your Winston Cup car?
Well, it's, you know, a car is a car is a car is a truck, you know, kind of like that. It's not that much different. I mean, you know, an Indy car, that would be a different story, but all these things are in the same family. Even this truck is still in the stock car family. So, you know, it has personality that's a whole lot like a race car, like a Winston Cup car.
If we get this in, this could be a real 15-lap shootout, couldn't it?
It could be. We've got a good truck for a short run here. We'll just have to see. It's a good race.
Guys, I'm going to send it back up to you. I'm going to try and catch up with Mike Skinner and also with Jack Sprague.
Mark Martin had his moment in the spotlight here, first time ever in truck racing, and there he was consulting with his teammate Jeff Burton. That team next year will include Chuck Baum. They made the announcement last week that Baum will be a regular in a Roush truck as the teammate, as far as we know, to Joe Ruttman, although the press release didn't name Ruttman per se. I asked him about that today, and he said, well, it's not my job to do the press releases.
That's not a jet dryer. I mean, folks, I want you to understand, that's a tractor with a blower on the back of it. That's not a jet.
There we go. Wind that baby up and put it on max. Make it do everything it'll do. Let's get back down to Marty with the leader of the race.
Okay, we're taking a little bit of stroll here as he's heading back towards to talk to Will Lynn, team manager. Let me jump in just for a few seconds. First off, the good news is you got the lead. The bad news is you still need about 16 more laps to make this thing official.
I thought we were doing fine just riding around out there behind the pace car myself.
Yeah, you would being the leader.
Imagine some of the others had a little different thought about that, but pretty surprising. GM Goodrich Service Chevrolet Super Truck's running pretty good. Mark is real good. Jack and Ron, I don't know how Ron does it. Every time I turn around, he's right there, but those guys are all pretty good. I think one guy slips, he's in trouble, and you know, we were a little bit better with me in front of Mark. When I got behind Mark, it loosened Mark up even more.
when he's behind me, it doesn't seem to affect my truck quite as much. So, you know, together we could kind of get away just a little bit, but who knows? I don't think anybody's going to worry about togetherness with 16 to go if it starts raining.
Yeah, obviously the change of motors didn't seem to hurt you. I mean, you stepped right up.
No, the motor was going to run at Loudon, and it's within about 50 RPM of the motor that we had here, so pretty good.
You notice, Benny, how these guys always are saying it's 50 less, or at least they're implying that.
Put it this way, it's 50 different. I'm not going to tell you which way.
And I don't think Mark Martin's going to buy his suggestion that he fall in behind Skinner to get those last 15 laps in either, I'll tell you what.
I don't think so. Although, if this race is run next Saturday or whenever, obviously Mark Martin will not be able to come back to compete with Skinner because he'd be in Dover for the Winston Cup race.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's old DW chatting with Hensley. Pointing up there and saying, I can go through there faster than you can, DW. We'll take a break and come back with more. Skinner's your leader. If you've just joined us, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series has been impacted by Hurricane Fran, or at least the fringes of Fran. Rain has stopped the action here. Looking ahead to Sunday, we get all the Winston Cup stuff wrapped up here on Saturday. At least that is the goal. Sunday, the Grand Prix of Italy at 7:45 a.m. on ESPN2. Can you believe it? Damon Hill out of a ride, even if he wins the World Championship. Remarkable. IndyCar will decide their championship in the GP of Monterey. You'll see it at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN2. RPM tonight will wrap up all of the activity at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN2. Let's check with the third place driver down on pit road. Marty's with Jack Sprague.
And Jack's taking a couple looks at the two guys in front of him, but just not quite enough yet to get by him.
No, you know, the Quaker State Chevrolet's running awful good. We're just a little too tight right in the middle. But the long greens, I can run them down, and then we get a caution. So I think I could lead this thing if it stay green longer. But, you know, it's running awful good. We seem to separate from the fourth place truck, you know, other than the caution flags. But we're going to make some adjustments on her if we even get a second half. I just soon get out there right now and finish this first half, so we've got this one behind us.
Yeah, you were mentioning, hey, this looks dry enough, let's go, because this could end up being a 16-lap shootout.
I mean, it's what it's going to end up being, I think, but we got a lot of racing to do yet this weekend, and we need to get this one behind us. We don't need to worry about coming back here with a 120-lap race.
Guys, we'll send it back up to you. Going to head for Joe Ruttman.
All right, Marty, we appreciate that. There is a contingency plan in place, of course, for all of these fans that have gathered at the ever-expanding Richmond International Raceway. Their target for this joint's 125,000 seats. Benny, I don't think there's a Winston Cup track out there that's not either in construction or in expansion or drawing plans for more seats.
Oh, they're all trying to put seats in. You know, last week at Bristol, they announced up there they're talking about 130,000 seats there. And they're building a racetrack in Texas right now with 150,000 seats. Rockingham is expanding. All the racetracks around the country building more seats because the demand for seats for Winston Cup racing is just phenomenal.
It's funny because actually it may be the lower part of that grandstand that you're looking at right there. When this place was the old Fairgrounds Speedway, the old half-mile dirt track, and in 1988 they came in and dug it up and started laying out the new 3/4-mile layout, and they built the first grandstand, and it so dwarfed everything else that was here. You stood and looked at it, and your mouth just hung agape. And now it's one of those little grandstands underneath the seats and the suites and the press box and all the rest of it. It's quite a joint. Let's get back down trackside and hear from Joe Ruttman, who's running 5th.
Yeah, and he started 15th, as you guys pointed out earlier in the broadcast. A nice little move towards the front. Do you have enough time, if the weather cooperates, to get all the way?
Now, maybe if it rained for those guys up there and I could miss it, they'd be in trouble. But I think what happened is, as I come up through the pack, I think they were just saying, let him go, because they knew it was going to rain. So I think they just, courteous driving, I think, is what they've been doing.
No, I don't think so. This series is too darn competitive. What do you guys got dialed in right now that you didn't seem to have either in qualifying or in practice?
Jack showed up and talked to the driver right before the start of the race, and I can't tell what he said, but we're doing the best we can. He says to catch up with Mark or else. I don't know what that meant, you know.
Should I turn you around and look for a boot print back there?
Right, there could be something back there. No, Jack's excited, and we're really excited because the boys have been really dialing the truck good of recent, and this is not a surprise to us. And you know, I could qualify better, but I can't hold my breath that long. You know, if I could hold my breath longer, I could qualify better.
All right, he's in 5th right now, and we're hoping to see if he can get to the front. I'd hate to see that boot print come up there again.
Absolutely not.
Funny guy, got that dry sense of humor. So it's going to be, again, Chuck Bound next year, along with, as far as we know, Joe Ruttman with the 3rd truck to continue to be the revolving truck in that deal. NASCAR, does that say www.nascar.com? Well, that probably is a plug for the NASCAR on the internet website that you can punch up on your personal computer and get all the latest breaking news from NASCAR before it's available anywhere else. They have special features from the riders who cover the sport at NASCAR Winston Cup scene. NASCAR online at www.nascar.com. We are in the information superhighway age for sure. Do I hear something about uncovering the trucks?
Look at that, taking those covers off, racing momentarily. Hang on, folks.
Maybe we may get this baby in yet. It's a 200-lap shootout if the weather cooperates. Stay with us. Prettiest sight tonight, trucks without the covers on them. A lot of folks thought once it started raining here, we were history at Richmond, but it has not turned out that way. We've had a couple of sprinkles. Let's get quickly down to Marty with the pole sitter.
Yeah, we're down with Kenny Irwin, and I've got to tell you, other than getting snookered at the start, you've looked pretty good.
You know, I kind of snookered myself there at the start. I just kind of screwed up, but I think our truck's pretty good. The longer the runs are, the better we are, and the more we seem to be able to catch them. So, you know, we're just trying to keep this Rebecca sport up front.
Well, as you can tell, guys, the helmet's on, and he's ready to get going. The jet driver's going to be coming by here real soon, and I'm not going to be able to talk to him. What would you be happy with finish-wise? Because, you know, this may be 16 more laps, and we're out of here.
Well, actually, I think we're faster than the first 2 trucks ahead of me, so... you know, I'd be happy finishing right here, but we're going to race it until they stop it.
All right, that's Kenny Irwin Jr. He's ready to go.
I'll tell you what, Kenny Irwin will race you till hell freezes over. That boy will run you hard. Martin made a good point. He said, you know, an Indy car might be a whole different class of car. Well, a sprint car, a midget, a Silver Crown car, that's a whole different class of car. This kid has driven a truck once, and to come here and run like he's running tonight, what do you think of that?
I'm very impressed. I really am impressed. I think Jeff Gordon was saying a couple of years ago that this kid had a tremendous amount of talent. I think this is the fellow that Jeff was talking about.
And Bliss, likewise, will tell you that he's a real strong performer. Mike's back in 26th spot after the troubles he's had tonight as we run you down through the field. I'll say this, too, about Kenny Irwin Jr. He's kind of the Mr. Excitement of the open wheel ranks. I mean, last night, if you were watching Thunder, he and his teammate, Tony Stewart, are leading in the 44th running of the 100 on the dirt at Terre Haute, and he threw her in there and tried to do that big old slide job and clobbered his teammate. They both ended up out of the race. Can you imagine being a car owner in a case like that?
Wow. No, I could not.
Bob East was very diplomatic. I'll give him credit. We are close to getting back to action here. They have taken the tarps off the trucks. They have not yet refired them. You can see now they're strapping the drivers back in, and the truck racing of the rescue vehicle and pickup kind of variety continues. So we'll take a break and be back with more.
And we're back at the Fas Mart Truck Shootout, all part of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and we are down by the NASCAR trailer, and I'm going to get to do my impersonation of a weather guy. This Canadian high and a Caribbean low, and I don't know all that stuff, but I can tell you one thing. The engines are starting behind us, and here's the good news why. See where it says Richmond International Raceway? And notice that nice bluish area and the pale green area just to the southeast. This is the direction that the storm is heading, and the area that we have to watch out is where you see the yellow and the darker regions. That's only about 7 to 10 miles away from us right now, moving at 12 miles an hour to the direction of Richmond International Raceway. That's why we've got to get these 16 laps in, because once that hits us, we could be down for an awfully long time.
I've never understood it, Benny. Everybody in our business wants to be a weatherman. It's a little cloudy, they all run for the race. I don't want anything to do with the weather. When I'm at the racetrack, I don't want to know about the weather. I want it to be pretty.
I don't even... What are they holding the 44 truck for?
They fired him and sent him back out, but that Craftsman official standing in front of Brian Ruffner is certainly impeding his progress.
That's Kim Childress standing there, and I guess they're going to let all those trucks go by. All the trucks on the outside line is going by, and now they're going to let Refner go.
Would that indicate that they're forming up a file restart? Maybe I'm not sure why they're doing that, but in any case, the important point here is we have trucks back out on the racetrack, and with that little window in which to try to complete this event, they are warming them back up to go back under green. We'll take a quick break and come back with more. And yes, we are under green. They threw it 2 corners ago. Down into turn 3 goes the leader, Mike Skinner. Lap traffic on the bottom. Hornaday up there working on Sprague. Sprague working on Martin. It's a pretty sight to see him back out there at race speed. As you can see, the racetrack looks pretty good. The rain has stopped for the moment, and we need about 10 more laps to make this baby official.
There's Kenny Irwin, our pole sitter in the 62, right in front of Nathan Bucky in the 75.
Towards the lap down, the number 21 truck.
They pass for second spot, and Sprague, the 24, cannot quite get alongside of Mark Martin. Here comes Hornaday.
Hornaday worked through the lap traffic very quickly. He's great on the restarts. We've seen that all season. That is 3rd, 4th, and 5th stacked up behind the leader, Skinner. Better than they are right now, Benny.
Yes, they are. He's pulling away. And Mark is just having some trouble. When the truck's pulling up behind him, he is getting loose. And we can see that Jack Sprague is very, very close behind him, and that is making that Exide truck a little bit loose. And Mark not able to get on the gasoline like he would if he was by himself. And here comes Sprague. He's got a good run.
Well, he worked him over, didn't he? Trying to set this up. Now gets the nose alongside. And Martin runs out of traction and has to give up the position. Sprague moves into 2nd, drops Martin to 3rd. Jack Sprague behind Skinner by 8 points in the standings. And now, we got trouble. We got one spinning. The number 8 is John Nemechek, loops in traffic, and the yellow will come out for that.
And I can't believe that all those trucks missed Nemechek. Now, how on earth did they do that? Or did they?
Well, for I guess they did. A bunch of boys in pickup trucks, they drive them pretty effectively here in the NASCAR Craftsman Series. And Nemechek is quickly going to get the thing rolling and out of harm's way, which should enable us to go back quickly to green, because as you saw on the camera lens there, the sprinkle has resumed. I'll tell you what, Benny, this is going to be remembered as the tightest race of the year, us against France.
Yes, it is.
It's close.
And folks, believe it or not, it has not rained today. This is, when we first came on, is the first time we had seen any rain today.
And the report, and I think the pictures verify it, you can see in the lights that the rain has picked up in intensity.
And guess what? There's Chris Morganson, guys. 1 to go. Get your best hope.
Cinch those low air pressure.
Cinch those belts down tight, because we are going to figure out who's going to win this baby right now. We're going to settle it.
6 laps to decide it. 7 laps would make it official. They would run normally to 101. That is the standard procedure in the truck racing ranks. They run to halfway plus 1, then take the mandatory break. So when they come back by and get the green,
we can see the rain coming down from that camera shot there, but they're going green.
That's going to be
wild. Oh, no, they're not. No, they're not. Chris Morgan has the flag back out and says,
yeah,
no,
got the lights back on.
It's a little too slick.
Yeah, they want to get it in real bad, but there is a limit, and that limit is drawn at the line of driver safety, because you can hit the wall pretty hard at this joint. Circulating at 119-mile-an-hour lap time for the pole sitter. Was it 29 trucks that broke the record from a year ago?
29, yes.
That's hustling around here pretty good. So you lose one on a wet racetrack and slap the wall at that kind of speed, you can get hurt. They're not going to take that chance. We will instead take a commercial break and come back with more from Richmond. Stay with us. On board with Rick Bickle as the Fas Mart Truck Shootout approaches the halfway point under the yellow flag here at Richmond International Raceway. 96 complete. The break is at 101.
Now the question is, you know, if it still continues to rain, will they run to 101 and make this an official race? We'll have to wait and see what their thinking is.
Well, and that could be two different questions, too. I mean, they could run to 101 under caution, I suppose, but then not declare it an official race.
Well, I'm told they're going to red flag it the next time out. They're not going to 101 and make an official race. I mean, NASCAR, I mean, that is really a gutsy call because everyone, with all the schedule we've talked about, obviously they want to get this thing to halfway, but they're not able to, and they're not going to deprive the fans of seeing green flag racing.
There's the bottom line right there. They could certainly just let them circulate. I mean, it's not that dangerous to run around at 45 miles an hour out there. They could do that, but they will not do that. Richard Childress looking on somewhat disgustedly because his truck's out front. And if they made this thing official, he'd be the winner. That, of course, would be Mike Skinner, who is number one in the series in terms of laps led. He's led 1,199, and I guess we'd have to update that by about 3 or 4 since actually that was 1199 coming into tonight, and he had led 58 laps before Mark Martin took the lead. He retook the lead on lap 74 and has led since.
Right now what they're doing is the halfway deal. They're making their pit stops and they're doing the halfway.
So this will be the break, and I'm not sure everybody got the word. Sprague, for example, there in the green and white truck did not come to his pit. It is halftime at Richmond, though we are a little short of the midpoint of the race. Now Sprague will back up to locate his crew and pull into his pit for service.
He's got quite a ways to go because his pit's about 10 pits back. Now I guess he's going to go all the way around the racetrack and come back. That's what he decided to do.
I think that was probably wise because the chances of him getting run into are better all the time. Now don't run down in there and spin that thing out.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
He did that at Watkins Glen, or essentially did that. He'd gone out and cut the fastest lap in practice and looped the thing into the fence.
But now he's not getting credit for this lap. I mean, he's just simply getting to his pit, so he'll not get credit for it.
Here comes the second wave of trucks looking for their pits. So again, everything will be normal about this halftime break. That is to say, they can service the trucks, they can put the fresh tires on. Two things are different. They have not gone halfway, so they have not paid the Gatorade Halfway Challenge money of $1,000 to the guy who leads it at lap 100, and it is not yet an official race. Let's put Marty to work.
Hey, I'm down here with Harry Gannon. Best news is the drizzle has stopped again, so this might be perfect timing, and we'll give you a chance to get at least a clean windscreen.
Yeah, we hope we'll help it out a little bit here and clean the windshield and a new set of tires and see where we're at.
We've got a nice top 10 run going for you right here, and obviously only a few more laps before the race is official. I got to tell you what Benny said about last week, you know, when Skinner got into you and sort of sent you out of the race. He said, that's like slapping Santa Claus.
I'm sure he didn't mean it.
You mean Benny or Mike?
I did.
No, Mike.
I did mean it too, Marty.
Yeah. And Benny's yelling in my ear. He did mean it too, as far as he was concerned. Hey, what's it going to take? I mean, you know, you got a good top 10 run, but can you crack top 5 and what laps we may have left?
Well, we got to make some adjustments here and pick it up a little bit. I was kind of limited to what I could run and what I go because I didn't want to wear the tire down. So we're going to try and see what happens right here, you know, some adjustments we're making.
All right, we're going to let them get back to it. Guys, come on with me. We're going to go down to Ron Hornaday, who is our points leader. Robert, just follow me, buddy. Come on with me. And
guess what? He ran.
He outran the speed of sound.
His pack on the back of it, he got a bad connection. And guess what, Marty? We can't hear you, so just shut up. So you're talking, we ain't hearing you, so forget it.
We can't read lips, buddy. Outran his own voice. That boy could move on pit road. Here's where he was headed. This is Hornaday, who is currently 4th on the racetrack, but first in the championship standing, and has run every single lap of competition this year.
I heard that today. I was very impressed, folks. This truck, this driver, every lap that's been run in the Super Truck Series this year, he has run 2,980 laps. He's completed every one of them.
And you saw saw the graphic there, he's been top 10 in every race thus far. And I guess if you add all that up, it makes sense that he would be the point leader, doesn't it?
Doug Williams, his crew chief, talking to him, trying to figure out. I don't think Hornaday liked that drink. All right, Marty. Can you talk now, Marty?
Yeah, I think I bounced my backpack into oblivion, but I think we're back online. Excuse me, Doug, let me sneak in here real quick. Ron, so far, so good. I mean, you're not obviously where you probably want to be with Sprague and Skinner in front of you, but you certainly aren't way back.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Napa Chevrolet's running good. This is about where we're sitting. You know, it don't pay to win the first half of this race, but starting as far back as we did, we're sitting where we want to sit.
Now, they've got the hood up, and they're making a few adjustments. Anything you want to share with us as far as what you're going to do to make this truck go a little quicker?
Well, we didn't make no adjustments. You know, I've been saving the tires so I didn't burn them up. Right now, we just did that so we made sure the springs are in the pocket when we jacked up to change them tires.
So you're feeling pretty confident then, no changes?
Well, I got a good truck, you know. I didn't abuse it that whole time. Matter of fact, I was pretty tight, and we were complaining all weekend about being loose. So this Napa Chevrolet, your tires are holding up good, so we'll see what we can do in the front.
Look out, guys. When Ron Hornaday and the team doesn't adjust a thing, they may have something in the bank.
That's why he's the point leader. Hornaday sits on top at the halfway break. Skinner has led 82 of the laps thus far. They've swapped the lead 3 times. It's, not quite halfway. Put that in quotes. We're not halfway yet. Average speed is 77.9, call it 78 miles an hour, and we've had 5 cautions for 33 laps. We need 5 more laps. We'll be right back. Live at Richmond with Dave Despain, Benny Parsons, and Marty Reed, anticipating a big weekend here. Tomorrow, the NASCAR Winston Cup car scheduled to qualify at 5:30 in the afternoon on ESPN2, followed by RPM tonight at 7 o'clock, and then the race for the Busch cars, the Autolite Platinum 250. Scheduled starting time is 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. And then we look ahead to the remainder of the weekend. Speed Week will kick things off 6:30 Eastern time on ESPN, followed by NASCAR Today, the pre-race show for the Big Miller 400. Winston Cup cars go at 7:30 here on Saturday night. On Sunday, got the F1 Cars Grand Prix of Italy at 7:45 Eastern on ESPN2 on Sunday morning, and then live at 3 o'clock Eastern time. I thought we had an incorrect graphic up there earlier. 3 o'clock Eastern time, you'll have the Indy cars deciding their championship out at Laguna Seca, and 8 o'clock in the evening, RPM tonight, with a complete wrap-up of the entire weekend's activities.
Folks, see that right there? You know what that is? That's a TV camera. That's the shots that you see from the onboard cameras. That's what that is. How small they are. It's about the size of a lipstick, a tube of lipstick.
Changed a whole bunch since the days when you were. Did you ever carry a camera? Sure,
yes,
you did. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I carried the first camera that we had in the United States in 1979 during the Daytona 500.
History.
And there's a picture that we're seeing from the camera I just highlighted a moment ago. The camera that first had was stationary. It just looked straight out the windshield and did not revolve. But now they've got them doing everything in every place else.
Let's go to Marty with probably, I guess, the tough luck driver of the first half.
I was wondering if Benny was going to say he carried the first tube of lipstick, too. I mean, we're down here with Mike Bliss. It's not been your night. It's rough when you have a loose truck and then you get this wet pavement.
Yeah, I don't know. This driver of this Ford ASC is out to lunch today. He isn't all here today, I don't think. I feel like an idiot, but I guess it's a new race now. Halfway's over. We'll go on another 100 laps, see if we can keep it from spinning out, I guess. But I think we'll be all right.
Was this mental preparation that did something get you sidetracked mentally?
No, I just think it's one of those nights where I should have been golfing or playing or bowling or something, you know. I don't know. We're just a little bit loose, and I should have backed out of it, and I've been trying to hustle to catch up, and I got the outside group a little wet right now.
That banging you hear, guys, is the left rear quarter panel being rearranged. You could try surfing on the beaches of the hurricane.
Yeah, I'd rather be here, I guess, than on the Carolinas. I feel sorry for them, but I don't know. You know, you got to keep your head up.
All right, we'll see you out there. Mike Bliss admitting that tonight is just not his night. Guys, we're going to make our way back down here a little bit further and get out of their way. See if we can talk to Nathan Butke real quick. Nathan, can I get this off here real fast? Here we go. I'm sure the crew is going to love me for that, just arbitrarily taking their net down. You got a nice little run going here.
Yeah, I tell you what, we've been struggling kind of since we've been here. We've been working on it, and we got it real close. and the crew's been working real hard. Cal Northrop's got the truck running pretty decent. I'm seeing to be fading a little bit, which bothers me. Hopefully we'll get out here and stay up front and move forward.
Well, you're in the top 10 right now and just a few spots out of the top 5.
Yeah,
hey, Marty.
I didn't really hear what you said, but we're having some problems on the setup. We got a good run going. Hopefully we can just stay in it. The last 2 races we've fallen out of.
Hey, Marty. Marty, let him go racing.
Yeah, we're going to go racing. We got to let him go.
Nathan's sitting there saying, what do I do? I'm on TV, but I want to go here. The son of the Carolina dairy farmer gets back to what he does for his daytime job. We'll take a break. Be right back. But cliches become that because they are true. Winston Cup and the NASCAR fans are the best in the business. Look at them sitting in there tight, a little bit damp, covered up, waiting it out. It has begun to rain again, and I think this is as hard as it has come down all night.
Looks to me like it is, yes.
But that is not a good sign.
But the trucks are on the racetrack, and
they've just come back out, and again, it's still kind of that hit or miss rain, but this is a pretty serious shower as we take a look at how they're running. Straight getting around Martin, popping him a spot just before the halftime break. Hornaday from 10th, starting spot to 15th. Rutman from 15th to 5th. Irwin from the pole back to 6th, but still pretty respectable. We heard from Butke there just a moment ago. Coach Miller, as we look on back through the field at how some of the rest of them are running, and pick your favorite driver out of there. Bliss, the self-confessed, you call it, mental lapse, and said he should be elsewhere tonight, maybe playing golf. But Kellenberg was the first truck out. Craig and Keselowski both having difficulties, and Grubb's truck has been on fire, and they did not get it repaired immediately during the break, so I'm not sure. I think, does he go back out, or is he...
yes, he is back on the racetrack.
They had to squirt it with a fire extinguisher. That way, a little bit of flame that flared up there when they shut it off probably backfired through the carburetor. It did a bit of damage and cost him some laps, but still, those two boys have been pretty impressive here tonight.
NASCAR is not counting these laps. All they're trying to do is stay ahead of the moisture. They're trying to keep the trucks on the racetrack to keep the racetrack dry, and as soon as it gets dry, they'll just immediately wave the green flag. But right now, they're just waiting, trying, hoping that they will be able to get this racetrack dry enough to race on.
And as quick as it looked like, Benny, we might be washed out for good, the hard rain has let up again. I didn't think it was going to. That looked like the one that might be here to stay, but it has let up again, and Fran continues to be a bit of a tease. Coming up next, whatever happens here tonight, will be your soccer here. That's Colorado versus Los Angeles at 10:30 Eastern Time. So stay tuned for that. Old Eduardo Hurtado, third in the league in scoring, as I'm sure you knew, with 42 points, leading the Colorado team in the competition this evening against Los Angeles. Trucks on the racetrack is our idea of hot stuff to watch, and now if we could just get those trucks on the racetrack under green, we'd have it all.
Well, you'd see that there is no rain on the windshield of that Cummins Dodge, and guess what? Chris Morgan's giving the signal. Green next time.
1 to go. The laps will begin to count at 98. We need 98, 99, 100, 101.
But I want to see 200. I want to see it all.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so to have that break behind us now, so we're racing.
We are good to go from here to 200, and that's what I want to see.
All right. And tip the hat to NASCAR. That red flag, I think, was pretty good evidence of that their primary concern is the same as it was way back at the end of World War II when they cranked up this new form of racing. Looking out for the fans. Taking care of the folks at the grandstand has made that sanctioning body what it is today. And those fans are on their feet as we get ready to go.
Green.
Interlace them across the stripe.
And Hornaday on the outside of Martin takes over the third spot. And Doug George almost got to the left rear of the 24 of Sprague.
Martin did not get much of a jump. He has to contend with the white number 80 of Ruffin. Here he goes to the inside, slipping and sliding, and he cannot get by. The point leader on the move. He said they wouldn't change anything on that truck with the tires because it was a good one, and it looks good here.
It does look good. Boy, what a run he got off, too. Looked like a cannon shot him off that corner, but he still could not get my Sprague. No, Sprague slipped this night.
He left the door wide open. Then he ran it in too hard into 3, and Hornaday said, I'll take that one, thank you very much. Sprague paddles back on the outside, and Martin is right there taking it all in.
And Ron Hornaday will move into second spot. Skinner does not like to see that in his rearview mirror, I guarantee you.
Exactly what he said in the brain. He said, I keep looking in the mirror, and there's Hornaday. Skinner looking for his 6th win of the year.
Oh, my goodness.
Look at this, 4 wide for a moment.
Randy Renfro, once again, that 41 truck, and they are bumping Resendez. Easy for me to say, yes.
Last week's winner at Nashville, Resendez in the middle of that with the number 41 truck. For a moment, it was scary. Now, here is Sprague coming back after Hornaday. He will not surrender that position easily. That is for second spot. It's official. We have a race, ladies and gentlemen. And what a race we have for second position. The first and third ranked drivers in the point standing separated by maybe 2.5 feet. Skinner, meanwhile, checking out.
And I tell you what, they do some serious racing back there. Serious racing back there. 3 of race, 2 of race, it don't matter.
This is what these guys are looking for all night, is the opportunity to get out there and get at it under green. It's been a hit-and-miss, start-and-stop race thus far. You're on board with Ruffner. That's Dockett chasing it. And here's the battle for second. A Sprague comes back underneath. Hornaday slips, and they swap the spot again.
And Hornaday tries to get back alongside. Can't quite make it.
Here's Harry Gant working to the inside of Butch Miller. Chasing for position here. That is for 8th and 9th position. And Miller for the moment is 8th, but Gant has the preferred line down on the bottom of the racetrack. Handsome Harry, 4 times the winner at this joint in the Grand National competition. The first guy to win here after they built the new racetrack, the new 3/4-mile Z-shaped layout. Harry said, I like this just fine.
And Butch Miller hanging tough on the outside. Oh, Harry running a little bit strong. That time they make some contact.
Straighten him up there, Butch. We're way up on the outside now. He's got all the momentum as they go to 1. That's a good race.
Great race. And Harry gets her loose off the corner. And Butch Miller goes ahead and takes a spot. He will remain in the 8th spot.
It started raining again about the time that happened.
Yellow is out for rain. Wave them off.
On the pedal good and hard there, trying to hold on to that spot. And we are back under yellow. The yellow comes back out for wet racetrack. Well,
man, I'm telling you, this has been a struggle tonight.
It really has. And I'll tell you, it's remarkable that we've gotten this far into it. When we looked at that radar early on, it didn't appear that it appeared that we might not even get the thing started, much less made official. Now, under the 6th caution of the night at lap 107, you can see how hard it's raining here, and you can see the wind.
The rain's not coming down, it's going sideways. I don't guess any of it's hitting the ground, is it?
Theoretically, it ought to just blow on by the racetrack. We can keep running. So what's the problem?
I don't know.
We wish it were true. Skinner, meanwhile, says, well, let's just call this official and throw these trucks and the transporters and head for Loudon, boys. I'm a happy camper. I got what I wanted out of this deal.
That's right. 6th win of 1996. He's won 14 times since the NASCAR started the Truck Series. Rich Burgess, the crew chief, just put his foot up on the wall and telling the guys, hey, hope this thing is rained out.
14 career wins is the record. Second on that category. That would be Ron Hornaday. We'll be right back. We're back at Richmond International Raceway. Remember, the last hurricane was supposed to wash out Darlington. Darlington was never supposed to happen, so I get a little skeptical about the weather forecast, but we are getting rained on right now. Fran is nearby. Let's go down trackside to Marty.
Well, we got Richard Childress, who we got about 1 lap to go. Richard, you're about the only guy I think that would like to see this thing end right now.
Well, you take them any way you can get them. But, yeah, we're doing pretty good. 24, 16, all those guys are running good. A lot of it's track position here tonight.
I'll tell you, he had an umbrella for a second. It looked like he was going to do his impersonation of Mary Poppins getting blown away.
We're going to go back to green here. Give it one more shot at Richmond.
Nice trucks off. Be ready.
Move it up, Rick. Move it up. We're going green.
Go, go, go.
Go, go, green, green, green. These guys do follow instructions well.
Man, there's still a mist in the air, as we saw on the camera lens.
Hornaday's looking.
He's on the inside of Sprague. Oh, they make contact. And here comes Mart by one. He's trying to get by Hornaday. Rutman is trying to get by Sprague. And some smoke out of Sprague's truck.
He's got sheet metal on the tire, apparently, after the contact with Hornaday. That is significant in terms of the championship standings. Hornaday slammed Sprague pretty good.
The left front is dragged. The fender is rubbing the tire, the left front tire on the 24.
Let's see if Rutman will jump on him. Rutman, number 80. Next guy in line. Sprague is in very big trouble. Hornaday goes after Martin, leaves Sprague behind with sheet metal apparently rubbing the left front. It's only a matter of time until the tire goes down, right?
I would think so. The tires are only so thick. And every time that tire rubs, it's taking some of that rubber off.
And so the third-ranked driver in the series, Jack Sprague, has a very, very big dilemma. Rutman has not been able to pounce on him thus far. And lurking behind that battle in sixth spot, Kenny Irwin Jr. continues to find himself quite well here. His introduction to the NASCAR ranks his second truck race. There he is. Good job, kid.
He is doing a great job in the best truck there win. Oh, Sprague to the left front. In the wall he goes.
Boy, that was inevitable. Poor guy was stuck, no choice, and slams the wall, and that brings out the yellow. Man. Boy, what do you do in a situation like that? And obviously, they made the decision to stay out, try to ride it out, and there's the price.
You pray for a caution flag. That's what you do, is simply pray for a caution flag that you can go in and knock the fender off the tire. Once again, we'll show you what caused this. Going in turn 3, that's he on the outside, Sprague, Hornaday on the inside, and they go in the corner. Hornaday slips, goes up the hill, and bang, they make contact, and that contact knocked the left front fender in on the left front tire.
It wasn't a lot of contact, but it was enough that Sprague's left front eventually blew and pitched him right into the wall. Pretty fair clout. Let's go to Marty.
Well, Jack could not make the turn into the pit, and he was forced to slide past. Look at him. He is just banging the steering wheel and the roof. As you're right, they had to gamble. They could not give up the track position. They were hoping for another bit of rain. They would get a quick yellow, be able to bring him in. They wouldn't lose any position. Now, he is about to go a lap down, and they are having trouble getting the sheet metal away on that left front fender. They're also going to have to check the right front. There's a lot of damage into the wall there. They're going to check him. They might as well take the time because he's already got to wait it out at the end of pit lane. Jack Sprague is just furious because he knew they were in a good race. They had a chance. And yes, they are going to have to change the tire on the right front.
And you can see that it's raining pretty good now. So this is the caution flag that he needed. It came just seconds too late. Seconds too late. And was that official saying 1 lap to go, green flag? No.
That's the indication we're seeing. I'll be surprised if that happens, but
it is.
Looks like it's raining pretty good, but
it's a signal. 1 lap to go.
Giving the sign 1 to go. So Mark Martin now up into second spot. Hornaday, who I suspect will probably get an earful from Sprague at the end of the day. You know, it didn't look like he hit him that hard. He just got a little tiny bit loose, but it was just enough and in exactly the right spot to bend the sheet metal in against that left front tire. Tough deal.
Some of the spotters are saying that Doug George in the ortho truck is spotting, throwing some sparks around the racetrack, but we don't know what it might be.
Haven't seen it yet, but we've only been looking at him here for a few seconds.
Yep.
Guy won, what was it, 6 of the last 7 races or 5 of the last 6 races last year in Western West to pull out the championship. Michael Dokken has stopped. And the helmet's off, so obviously he will not be getting back underway very quickly. We are going back to green.
And once again, Hornaday tries it on the outside.
One thing to take care of Sprague, but the guy that he really needs to worry about right now is Skinner, the defending champion, and the man closest to Ron Hornaday in the point. Martin in between them, irrelevant in terms of the championship, and nonetheless, Hornaday says, I don't need it in my way. Quickly dispatches Martin down the front straightaway. Hornaday's got a good truck.
He has a good truck. And he closes up right on the back bumper of Skinner.
Martin seems to be struggling a little bit for the moment. Rutman.
And here comes Irwin on the inside of Rutman. Can't quite get alongside. Took a look.
Kenny, that slide job doesn't work quite the same down here that it does up north. Be careful, everybody. Big, heavy truck, a lot different from the midget, in which he currently leads the championship standings for USAC, and indeed the Silver Crown truck, in which he also leads the standings. The yellow is coming back out at Richmond, where Kenny Irwin, by the way, won the midget race and was second in the Silver Crown race. They came here earlier this year and put a heck of a show on, so he does have some previous experience on this racetrack, and he's doing a good job in 5th spot. Well, we continue to slug away at it. We'll take a break and back with more. To learn that the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is back under a red flag, the Fas Mart Shootout. No, this is not videotape. That's live. That is this moment. That is Chris Morgan with the red flag in hand. And that red flag's got some pretty good starch in it. The wind continues to increase here. They were estimating the gusts would go in the range of 30 to 35 miles an hour during the course of the race. And you can see it's blowing around a lot of different directions.
Look at that wind. It's taking that rain and just takes it sideways and up and then down, and wow. Yes, there is. It's very windy, and I would imagine it's going to get windier before the weekend is over here at the Richmond International Raceway.
Hurricanes are very, very unpredictable. We saw it with Edouard as, that storm missed Darlington. Then it was expected to go north and hit Lime Rock, where we went last weekend to wrap up the Labor Day weekend for an ESPN show that will air in December on the Dodge Vintage Festival, and there was no question up there. They were not going to be able to race on Monday because the storm was coming and it was going to wash everything out. Not a cloud in the sky all day. The storm stayed out in the ocean. It was a beautiful day. I would like to think we would have some sort of repeat of that this weekend at Richmond. Boy, right now, the prospects do not look good. The rain comes back out. The red flag comes back out. The trucks come back onto pit road. And the various rescue and safety vehicles move back out to once again begin their work. And as quick as we say it, that rain lightens up a little bit. There's Doug George, the Ortho truck, and each week people go by the local Sears store and register to try to be a pit crewman for a day on this truck. It's a contest that Craftsman pulls off, and Marty Reed is standing by this week's winner.
Yeah, we're down here, Benny. Jeff Williamson, you're looking at him right now, and Jeff is the lucky man, and he's going to be the first one this year that's probably going to get put on the spot. You're from Virginia. What got you interested in entering the contest?
I was just walking in Sears, and my girlfriend said, "Hey, let's try to win."
Pretty good view from the racetrack here.
Oh yeah, great view.
All right, what all the work have they made you do?
Oh, I done done it. I done watched them do everything, but I tell you, they do a whole lot. And the Ortho team is something else. They really got they got the car running well. They just can't get any horsepower out of it, but it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it.
And is your wife here with with you?
No, my girlfriend.
Your girlfriend?
No, she's at home, so.
Okay, let's get this real clear. He's not married, and he's not here with his
But
girlfriend.
Marty,
Yes?
she talked him into entering the contest.
Yeah, Benny's a little perturbed at you here, Jeff, because she talked you into entering, and you didn't bring her.
Her name's Beverly.
Well, at least you got some airtime with her name. Beverly, if you're watching, here's your man, and he's doing fine down here. He's got the signboard when they pull in for the pit stop, and we're both getting wet together.
Isn't that something now? She talks him into going and entering the contest, and he doesn't even bring her to the racetrack.
I hope he's giving us the straight scoop there. I thought he was kind of nervous because he was on TV till Marty started talking about his wife and his girlfriend, and then I thought, well, maybe he's got another reason to be worried here. That we make fun, but we tickle to death to see them doing this promotion because it really has built interest, generated interest in the truck race series. They do it every stop along the tour. Hey, see the drivers climbing out. That's not a good sign. Mike Bliss, who confessed that he was just having a little bit of trouble catching back up, trying to go a little too fast too soon, and it was too wet, and he looped the truck and smacked the wall. And as a result, he's back at the tail end of the top 20, but still on the lead lap. As we go back under the red flag at Richmond here with 124 laps. Chevy buddies here, Skinner and Hornaday, having a nice chat.
Well, they're the top two in the points. Hornaday right now the points leader, and Skinner is in second. But in the race, Skinner's leading. Hornaday is running second.
And Richard Childress in between them. Now these guys are now assuming that they're going to have something else to celebrate this evening, and that would be the clinching of the manufacturers' championship for Chevrolet. They have dominated the win category here, and a combination of either a Chevy victory or a Dodge win with a Chevy in the runner-up spot would clinch the crown here this evening. And again, you see that the rain is coming down hard behind them.
Yes, it is. This is probably the hardest it's rained all evening.
And those loyal fans we were talking about, many of them are starting to head for the exits. I think they can read the writing on the wall here. Oops, there went the umbrella. Yeah, we may have seen what there is to see tonight at Richmond, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get a commercial break in here and come back and see if we can figure out what's going to happen next. And the story of the evening, the rain delay here at Richmond. The Fas Mart Shootout 200 for the Nascar Craftsman Truck Series has the trucks back under the tarps after the longest and hardest shower of the day, and folks are leaving. Let's go to Marty with the point leader.
And he's in second place right now, Ron Hornaday Jr., and I've got to ask you what happened in the contact between you and Jack Sprague.
Racing, man. We switched lead, our second back and forth a couple times, and we had another restart. I got underneath him, and he drove it in with me, and knocked right down at the bottom, and I hit that little yellow strip, and the truck took off on me. Yeah, I did make contact with him. Apologize to Jack, but I mean, can't do nothing about it now. But Napa Chevrolet, they didn't make no changes. I told you we had a good truck, and I hope this ain't it, because I think we got something wrong.
That's what I was going to ask you as a follow-up. Do you think you got enough to take on Skinner?
Well, I mean, Joe's back there running good. He came pretty far back, and don't know how much Mark is pushing it, but we're pushing it pretty good because we were waiting for the rain, and we had to get up front. But Napa Chevrolet's running good. Goodyear came out with a good tire again.
If the wind's starting to pick up, if they're holding on to that umbrella, you'll be flying here in more ways than one.
Oh, I appreciate it. We're going to do that. But I tell you what, great racing. Just got to say, apologize to Jack again, but hard racing, I guess. He ain't going to give an inch, and I can't. You know, I was down the inside, and I got into that yellow stripe, and I got into him.
Okay, guys, that's Ron Hornaday Jr.
And, of course, Sprague, currently third in the points, paid the price for that. It bent the sheet metal in on the truck, and he ultimately blew the tire, slammed the wall, and fell out of our field summary, or at least fell deep into the field. Skinner has taken the lead here at the critical juncture. It's going to take a good while to dry out this racetrack. Hornaday may or may not get a shot at him, and as we go back down through the field, we are going to be leaving Richmond for the moment. It will probably take at least a half hour to dry things out. We're going to go to Shop Talk. Alan Bestwick and Mark Martin will hope to get back to Richmond. Right now, here's Alan and Mark. We're back at Richmond, where the Fas Mart 200 has been brought to you by Quaker State, the motor oil that exceeds the highest standards for engine protection. And by the NASCAR Story. To order your copy, call 800-71-NASCAR. Well, the bad news is it is now official. This race has been called because of a combination of the rain, which has thoroughly wet the racetrack, and the concerns about the approaching storm and the need to get the fans safely out of Richmond International Raceway, and for that matter, these crews safely on their way to Loudon, where they are scheduled to race on Sunday. So it's official. The Black 3 has won again for the 15th time, the 14th time in his career. Let's go with the winner, and Marty Snyder.
We're down here in the transport. First time I've ever done a victory interview inside a transporter, but congratulations, because it's the only place that's dry right now.
Well, it's the first time I ever won Richmond, so it's a good deal for both of us, Marty.
Let's talk a little bit about this race. I mean, it looked like you had the field pretty well in hand, except for Mark Martin, Jack Sprague, Ron Hornaday.
I think if Mark ever could have got out on us a little ways, Mark would have been awfully good, but his truck was loose with my truck tucked up under it, and with his truck tucked up under mine, it made us both faster, and I really liked that combination. I was hoping that Mark and I could have got hooked up and got away from him a little bit, but the rain kept on, bunching the field together, and then on the the restart king is Ron Hornaday. I mean, nobody restarts races any better than Ron Hornaday, and every time it started, Ron would gain a spot. So, Ron got up there in second place and made a good a good shot at his point steal.
There's your winner, Mike Skinner, guys.
Marty Snyder, who will help produce NASCAR Today on Saturday night. Appreciated the plug. Marty Reed, great job down there tonight. And Benny, as we take a look at the field summary here, Hornaday's move past Sprague on one of those restarts was really the key to this whole night, wasn't it?
Well, it was. He was able to get up to second place, and Skinner did not gain that many points on him. He able to finish second place, and there we see through 30 spot, Walker Evans was in third. The last car on the lead lap was Johnny Chapman.
Very impressive this evening was the performance of Kenny Irwin Jr., who started from the pole and finished fifth after Sprague hit the wall, having cut the tire after contact with Hornaday. Skinner thus goes from 64 points to 54 points behind in the championship standings. There you see the gap from Hornaday back to Skinner. The big loser tonight is Jack Sprague, who was 29th in the running order and falls 166 points back in the championship standings. For the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, guys, it's off to Loudon. For the rest of us, it's here, we hope, for Winston Cup qualifying at 5:30 tomorrow afternoon Eastern Time on ESPN2, followed by RPM tonight at 7 o'clock, and the Busch Cars in the Autolite Platinum 250 at 7:30. This is all assuming that Fran the Hurricane cooperates. Saturday, we kick it off with Speed Week, 6:30 Eastern Time on ESPN, then NASCAR Today, and at 7:30, the Miller 400 taking the green on ESPN, the NASCAR Winston Cup Series coming to Richmond. Sunday, Formula One racing breakfast in Italy, 7:45 on ESPN2. The IndyCar Championship will be decided live at 3 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN, and RPM tonight will wrap it all up on Sunday night. So, for Marty Reed down on pit road, Benny Parsons up here in the booth, I'm Dave Despain saying thanks for being here, and so long from ESPN, the world leader in sports.